Rose slammed the door behind her, the echo reverberating through the empty hallway of her childhood home in suburban Chicago. Her father's words still burned in her ears. "You're out by the end of the week, Rose. My new wife's family needs the space and frankly, your lifestyle isn't welcome here anymore." She collapsed against the wall, heart pounding, as the reality hit her like a freight train. She was being evicted from her own life, all because she dared to love Ruby. The shock rippled through her, a tidal wave of betrayal that drowned out the years of forced smiles and hidden truths. Rose had always known her father, a stern Midwestern accountant named Harold, harbored conservative views. But this was a declaration of war on her very identity. She paced the room, her mind racing back to the moment 6 months ago when he remarried Linda, a woman half his age with a brood of relatives eager to invade their quiet existence. Rose had bitten her tongue, swallowing the resentment as Linda's nephews eyed her bedroom like it was prime real estate. But now, with the ultimatum delivered over a tense dinner table, the facade cracked wide open. "Why me?" Rose thought, her inner voice a whirlwind of fury and fear. "I've been the dutiful daughter, working 2 jobs to help with the mortgage after Mom died. And for what? To be tossed aside like yesterday's trash, because I love a woman?" The injustice clawed at her chest, making it hard to breathe. She grabbed her phone, fingers trembling as she dialed Ruby, her girlfriend of 2 years, the one person who made sense in this chaotic world. "Ruby, it's happening," she whispered when the call connected. "He knows about us and he's kicking me out." Ruby's voice came through steady, but Rose could hear the undercurrent of worry. "Come over right now. We'll figure this out together." Rose hung up, stuffing a few essentials into a backpack, her laptop, some clothes, the photo of her late mother that always grounded her. As she slipped out the back door, avoiding her father's judgmental stare from the living room, she felt a mix of liberation and terror. Liberation from the suffocating expectations, terror at the unknown path ahead. Driving through the rain-slicked streets toward Ruby's apartment in the city, Rose's mind delved deeper into the abyss of her emotions. How had it come to this? She replayed the dinner scene, Harold's face reddening as he confronted her about the rumors from church friends, Linda smirking in the background like she'd won some twisted prize. "It's not natural, Rose," he'd said, his voice laced with disgust. "And I won't have it under my roof." The words echoed, stirring a storm of self-doubt. Was she wrong for hiding it so long? For thinking she could change his mind someday? Arriving at Ruby's doorstep, soaked and shivering, Rose fell into her arms. Ruby, with her warm brown eyes and curly hair that always smelled like vanilla, held her tight. "Tell me everything," Ruby urged, leading her inside to the cozy living room where they'd shared so many stolen moments. As Rose recounted the confrontation, tears streaming down her face, Ruby listened intently, her hand never leaving Rose's. But beneath the comfort, Rose sensed Ruby's own fears bubbling up. Fears of what this meant for them, for their fragile relationship built in the shadows. That night, as they lay on the couch, Rose's thoughts spiraled. "I've sacrificed so much already, friends who drifted away when I came out to them, the promotion at work I turned down to avoid scrutiny. Now this." The price of authenticity felt exorbitant. Yet in Ruby's embrace she found a flicker of resolve. Maybe this eviction was the push she needed to stop hiding. But as sleep evaded her, the doubts crept in. What if choosing love meant losing everything else? The family ties, the sense of belonging. She wondered if she was strong enough to pay that cost. The next morning, over coffee, Ruby broached the subject carefully. "We could fight this, you know. Talk to a lawyer about tenant rights or something." Rose shook her head, the idea feeling futile. "He's my dad, Ruby. Suing him would destroy whatever's left." The conversation turned tense, Ruby pushing for action while Rose wrestled with loyalty. Deep down, Rose knew this was just the beginning of the fractures to come. As days passed, Rose settled into Ruby's apartment, but the temporary haven couldn't mask the growing strain. Harold called relentlessly, alternating between anger and pleas for her to come to her senses. Each voicemail chipped away at her resolve, making her question if she was the one tearing the family apart. Ruby, sensing the turmoil, tried to be supportive, but her own insecurities surfaced. "What if he convinces you to leave me?" she asked one evening, voice cracking. Rose pulled her close, whispering assurances, but inside the conflict raged. Am I betraying my father by choosing Ruby, or betraying myself by considering otherwise? The moral quandary gnawed at her, a constant reminder of the societal pressures weighing on them. In a world that still viewed their love as abnormal, every decision felt like a battleground. Rose decided to confront her father one last time, driving back to the house under a gray Chicago sky that mirrored her mood. Parking in the driveway, she hesitated, her heart hammering against her ribs. What if this ends everything? The thought paralyzed her, but she pushed forward, knocking on the door she'd once entered freely. Harold opened it, his face a mask of stern resolve. What do you want, Rose? I thought I made myself clear. She stepped inside, the familiar scent of the home hitting her like a punch, memories of holidays, arguments, and unspoken love. Dad, we need to talk. Really talk. Linda hovered in the kitchen, her presence an unwelcome intrusion, but Rose ignored her, focusing on the man who'd raised her. They sat in the living room, tension thick as fog. Why are you doing this? Rose asked, her voice steady despite the storm inside. Because of Ruby? Or because Linda's family wants my room? Harold sighed, rubbing his temples. It's both and more. Your choice, it's not what I envisioned for you. And yes, we need the space. Life moves on, Rose. The word stung, igniting a fire in her chest. Choice. As if loving Ruby was a whim, not the core of who she was. It's not a choice, Dad. It's me. And you're choosing to throw me away for strangers. Her inner monologue raced. He's blind to his own hypocrisy, remarrying so quickly after Mom, yet judging my heart. The hurt deepened, but she pressed on. Remember when Mom died? You promised we'd stick together. Was that a lie? Harold's eyes flashed with guilt, but he deflected. Your mother would be ashamed. The accusation hit like a slap, and Rose recoiled. Ashamed? Mom had been the one to encourage her dreams, to whisper that love comes in many forms. Tears welled up, but she blinked them back, refusing to show weakness. Leaving the house without resolution, Rose felt the weight of failure. Back at Ruby's, she unloaded the encounter, pacing the small apartment. Ruby listened, then said softly, Maybe it's time to tell my family too. If we're in this together. Rose froze. Ruby's family, devout Catholics from the suburbs, were even more conservative than Harold. The idea terrified her, but fairness nagged. Why should Ruby hide while I'm exposed? That evening, Ruby called her parents, putting the phone on speaker. Mom, Dad, I have something to say. Rose and we're together. As a couple. Silence stretched, then her mother's voice sharp and disbelieving. What? Ruby, this is a phase. Come home, we'll sort it out. Her father's gruff tone followed. No daughter of mine will live in sin like that. The rejection echoed Rose's own, amplifying the pain. Ruby hung up, face pale, and Rose held her as she sobbed. Inside, Rose grappled with guilt. Did I push her into this? The decision to come out had cost Ruby her family's approval, a price Rose knew all too well. Yet, in that moment of shared vulnerability, their bond strengthened, a fragile armor against the world. Days turned into weeks, and the fallout mounted. Harold cut off financial support, leaving Rose scrambling to cover bills. At work, whispers about her situation circulated, courtesy of a nosy colleague connected to her father's church. The societal judgment seeped in, making every outing feel like a trial. Rose's thoughts darkened. Is this worth it? The constant battles, the isolation, maybe conformity would be easier. But Ruby's determination pulled her back. We can't let them win, she said during a late-night talk. We build our own family. Inspired, Rose applied for a better job, one in a more progressive company downtown. The interview went well, but doubts lingered. What if they find out about us? The paranoia grew, fueled by online stories of discrimination. Then came the betrayal. Rose's best friend from high school, Sarah, whom she'd confided in years ago, sided with Harold. He's just worried about you, Sarah texted. Think about what you're doing to him. The message felt like a knife twist, eroding trust. Rose confronted her over coffee, the meeting tense. You're supposed to be my friend, Rose accused. Sarah shrugged. I am. But family comes first. The words haunted Rose, mirroring her internal conflict. Family first, but whose definition? The encounter left her reeling, questioning alliances. Returning to Ruby, she vented, but sensed a shift in Ruby's demeanor. A subtle withdrawal. "Are you okay?" Rose asked. Ruby nodded, but her eyes betrayed uncertainty. As pressures built, Rose faced a moral dilemma. Reach out to Linda, perhaps appeal to her as a stepmother. The idea repulsed her, but desperation won. Calling Linda, she pleaded. "Talk to Dad. This is tearing us apart." Linda's response was cold. "He knows what's best. Adapt or move on." The rejection fueled Rose's anger, pushing her toward defiance. She and Ruby attended their first Pride event, a small step into visibility. Surrounded by acceptance, Rose felt a spark of hope, but the high was short-lived. News of their attendance reached Harold, escalating the rift. The tension between Rose and Ruby simmered, unspoken words hanging like storm clouds. One evening, after a grueling day at her new job, Rose came home to find Ruby staring at her phone, tears in her eyes. "My brother called," Ruby said, voice trembling. "He says if I don't end this nonsense, they'll cut me off completely." Rose's stomach dropped. The familial pressure, once Rose's alone, now ensnared them both. Sitting beside her, Rose took her hand. "We'll get through this." But inwardly, doubt gnawed. Am I dragging her down? Ruby's family had always been close-knit, holidays filled with laughter that Rose envied. Now, because of their love, that warmth turned to ice. Ruby pulled away slightly. "Sometimes I wonder if it's worth it. The fighting, the hurt." The admission stung, sparking Rose's defensiveness. "You think giving up is better? Pretending we're just friends?" The argument escalated, voices rising in the confined space. Ruby accused Rose of being too stubborn, while Rose countered that Ruby was wavering under pressure. "If you can't handle this, maybe we shouldn't." Rose trailed off, regret instant. They slept apart that night, the silence deafening. Rose's mind raced through scenarios. Losing Ruby would shatter her, but forcing her to stay felt unethical. The moral tightrope stretched thin. Love versus freedom, commitment versus coercion. By morning, they reconciled with apologies, but the fracture lingered, a reminder of vulnerability. Societal backlash intensified. At work, Rose's boss pulled her aside after an anonymous complaint about her personal life affecting performance. "Keep it private," he warned. The subtle discrimination fueled her anger, making her question America's promise of equality. Why must we hide to survive? The thought propelled her to join a local LGBT support group, where stories of similar struggles validated her pain. There she met Alex, a confident activist who challenged her passivity. "Fight back," Alex urged during a meeting. "Sue for discrimination if needed." Inspired, Rose considered legal action against her father, but the idea twisted her gut. Betraying blood for justice, was that right? The debate raged internally, weighing loyalty against self-preservation. Meanwhile, Ruby faced her own trials. Her job at a conservative firm became hostile after rumors spread. A coworker confronted her. "Is it true? About you and that girl?" Ruby denied it instinctively, the lie tasting bitter. Telling Rose later, she confessed, "I panicked. I'm not as brave as you." Rose forgave her, but the incident highlighted their differing paces, straining the relationship. A turning point came when Harold showed up at Ruby's apartment unannounced. "I want to talk to my daughter," he demanded. Rose let him in, heart pounding. The confrontation was raw. Harold accused Ruby of corrupting her, while Rose defended their love. "She's the best thing in my life," Rose said fiercely. Ruby stood silent, overwhelmed. Harold left unmoved, but the encounter awakened something in Ruby. "We can't keep running," she declared afterward. Together, they planned to move to a more accepting neighborhood, pooling resources despite financial hits. The decision felt empowering, but costs mounted. Selling belongings, dipping into savings. Betrayal struck again from an unexpected source. Linda, feigning concern, contacted Rose privately. "Your dad's hurting too. Come back alone and we'll work it out." The offer tempted Rose momentarily. Restore family peace at the expense of love? She rejected it, but the seed of doubt planted, making her question her resolve. As they packed for the move, Ruby discovered old letters from Rose's mother, hidden in a box. Reading them aloud, they revealed subtle support for Rose's identity. "Follow your heart always," one said. The discovery brought tears, reinforcing Rose's path but highlighting the generational divide. Highs and lows intertwined. A supportive call from Ruby's aunt offered a glimmer of hope, but it was overshadowed by Harold's decision to change his will, excluding Rose. The news devastated her. Not just eviction but erasure. "He's disowning me," she whispered to Ruby, the pain visceral. In response, Rose channeled the hurt into advocacy, volunteering at the support group. There, she organized a workshop on family reconciliation, drawing from her experiences. The act of helping others mended some wounds, but personal battles persisted. Ruby, inspired, confronted her parents again, this time with Rose by her side via video call. "This is who I am," Ruby stated firmly. The response was mixed. Anger from her father, tentative understanding from her mother. Progress but incomplete. The new apartment in a liberal Chicago enclave offered respite, but shadows of the past loomed large. Rose woke one morning to a text from Sarah. "Your dad's in the hospital. Heart scare. Blames the stress from you." Panic surged. Guilt, fear, responsibility crashing over her. Was this my fault? The internal accusation echoed, driving her to the hospital despite everything. Arriving, she found Harold frail in the bed, Linda by his side. "What happened?" Rose asked, voice cracking. Harold looked at her, eyes weary. "The fighting. It's too much." The admission pierced her, revealing his vulnerability. For the first time, Rose saw not a tyrant, but a man trapped by his beliefs. "I never wanted this," she said softly. "But you forced my hand." The visit turned into a tentative dialogue. Harold confessed his fears, societal judgment, church gossip losing face. "I thought I was protecting you," he murmured. Rose challenged him. "From what?" "Happiness." Tears flowed as buried emotions surfaced. Linda interjected defensively, but Harold silenced her. A small victory for Rose. Leaving the hospital, hope flickered, but realism tempered it. Change wouldn't come overnight. Back home, she shared with Ruby, who reacted warily. "Don't let him manipulate you." The caution sparked tension. Ruby's trust eroded by past hurts. Rose reassured her, but inwardly questioned. "Am I naive to seek reconciliation?" The incident prompted Ruby to reflect on her own family. She reached out to her brother, hoping for an ally. The call was brutal. "You're dead to us if you continue this." The rejection reignited her pain, leading to a night of soul-searching. "Why fight for people who don't want us?" she asked Rose. The conversation deepened their bond, but exposed cracks. Ruby's growing resentment toward Rose's lingering family ties. Societal pressures persisted. At a community event, they faced hecklers chanting slurs, a stark reminder of lingering bigotry. Rose stood firm, but the encounter shook Ruby. "Is this our life now?" Constant defense. Her doubt fueled Rose's own insecurities. "Have I doomed us to this?" A major conflict arose when Rose received a job offer in New York, promising stability but requiring relocation. "It's a fresh start," she argued. Ruby hesitated. "What about my job? My life here?" The debate turned heated, each accusing the other of selfishness. Deep down, Rose wrestled with ethics. Prioritize career over relationship, or stagnate for love. They compromised on a trial separation. Rose visiting New York for interviews while Ruby stayed. The distance amplified loneliness, Rose's thoughts consumed by what-ifs. Phone calls revealed Ruby's struggles. Isolation, temptation to conform. "Sometimes I miss the simplicity," Ruby admitted. The confession hurt, planting seeds of jealousy and fear. Betrayal hit when Rose learned Ruby had lunch with an ex, a straight man from her past. "It was nothing," Ruby insisted, but Rose's mind spiraled. "Is she regretting us?" The confrontation was explosive, trust fracturing further. "You lied," Rose yelled. Ruby countered. "You're never here emotionally." Reconciliation came slowly, with apologies and promises. But the incident forced introspection. Their love, tested by external forces, now battled internal demons. Rose volunteered more at the support group, finding solace in others' stories. One member's tale of ultimate loss, family suicide over orientation, chilled her, reinforcing the stakes. Harold's recovery brought unexpected outreach. He invited Rose for coffee alone. I'm trying to understand, he said haltingly. They discussed articles on LGBT acceptance, a baby step. Rose shared her pain, Harold his regrets. I miss my daughter, he admitted. The moment was poignant, but Rose guarded her heart. Forgiveness or trap? Ruby, upon hearing, felt threatened. He's pulling you back. The jealousy boiled over into an ultimatum. Choose him or us. Rose recoiled. It's not that simple. The standoff highlighted the drama's core. Balancing loves, navigating morals. As Rose prepared for New York, decisions loomed. Accept the job and risk the relationship? Stay and resent? The costs mounted. Emotional exhaustion, strained finances from therapy sessions they now attended. In a pivotal moment, Ruby joined a protest against anti-LGBT legislation, her first public stand. Rose watched proudly via video, the act reigniting passion. I'm all in, Ruby texted. The gesture mended some wounds, but challenges persisted. Returning from New York with the offer in hand, Rose faced the ultimate choice. The city promised freedom, but at what price? Her inner voice urged caution. Don't sacrifice love for ambition. Yet ambition whispered back. Don't trap yourself for fear. Rose stared at the job offer letter, the New York skyline beckoning from her laptop screen. We could make it work long distance, she suggested to Ruby over dinner. Ruby's eyes narrowed. Or you could stay and build with me here. The impasse stretched, each word laced with the weight of past sacrifices. Inside, Rose battled. Ambition versus loyalty. Which betrayal is worse? The argument that followed was their fiercest yet. Accusations flying like shrapnel. You're running away, Ruby shouted. And you're holding me back, Rose retorted. They parted angry, Rose storming out into the night. Walking Chicago's streets, she reflected on the journey. From eviction to empowerment, each step a trade-off. The societal grindstone had sharpened her, but at the cost of innocence. Reconciliation dawned with a heartfelt talk. I can't lose you, Rose confessed. Ruby nodded. Then don't go. Rose declined the offer, choosing love, but resentment simmered. Was this surrender or strength? The decision haunted her, a moral ambiguity that defined their path. Family dynamics shifted slowly. Harold attended a therapy session with Rose, awkward but genuine. I was wrong, he admitted, tears in his eyes. The breakthrough mended some rifts, but Linda's resistance created new tensions. Ruby's family remained distant, occasional calls laced with judgment. The partial acceptance felt bittersweet, progress tainted by loss. Societal awakening came through activism. Rose and Ruby co-organized a local event on family reconciliation for LGBT youth, sharing their story. Attendees' gratitude validated the pain, turning wounds into wisdom. Yet backlash followed. Online trolls threatening messages. The exposure tested resolve, Ruby questioning the risk. Is visibility worth the danger? Her fear clashed with Rose's defiance, another layer of conflict. A final betrayal emerged from within. Sarah, seeking redemption, revealed she'd leaked details to Harold initially. I thought I was helping, she claimed. Rose cut ties permanently, the hurt profound. Trust once broken proved fragile. People change, but scars don't, Rose told Ruby. As time passed, their relationship stabilized, fortified by trials. They adopted a dog, symbolizing new beginnings, but challenges lingered. Financial strains from lost support, emotional fatigue. Rose pondered the ethics. Had they chosen correctly or merely survived? High drama peaked when Harold's health declined again, prompting a family gathering. Linda orchestrated it, excluding Ruby at first. Rose insisted. She comes or I don't. The standoff forced Harold's hand. Ruby attended, tense but triumphant. Conversations flowed haltingly. Prejudices aired and challenged. By night's end, a fragile truce formed. Not full acceptance but tolerance. Ruby's awakening deepened. She pursued a passion project, writing about LGBT experiences, inspired by their saga. Rose supported her, but jealousy flickered. Ruby's success highlighted Rose's sacrifices. Did I give up too much? She wondered privately. The story's climax arrived in a quiet moment. Overlooking the lake, Rose proposed informally. Let's make this official, whatever that means for us. Ruby accepted, tears of joy mingling with relief. The commitment sealed their bond but underscored the costs. Alienated families battled biases. In reflection, Rose recognized the transformative power of their choices. Pain had birthed growth, betrayal fostered resilience. Yet, the journey's toll was irreversible. Lost time shattered illusions. As they moved forward, questions lingered. Society evolved slowly, but personal battles raged on. Rose and Ruby stood together, scarred victors in a war of hearts. Was it right to prioritize personal love over familial duty? Or does true morality demand compromise at any cost?